Daughter of a renowned cat burglar, Felicia Hardy takes up the mantle left behind by her retired father. Whether fighting alongside or against Spider-Man, Black Cat is a skilled acrobat capable of pulling off the most cunning of maneuvers. Trained by her father to become a Nazi hunting mercenary, Silver Sablinova heads Wildpack and Sable International, teams of highly trained and highly skilled mercenaries to hunt down the remnants of the Nazi party and bring them to justice. Though, in time, become more of a private military for hire, operating as a friend or foe to the wall-crawler himself. Hey everyone, Bryan here, and this is my review of the Marvel Legends Kingpin wave. This video serves as part 3 of my 4-part series, Road to Kingpin, where I give you the rundown of every figure in the wave, and we finish off with the Build-A-Figure. I've already shown you some of the great poses you can get these two into, so let's quickly talk about some of the articulation. Alright, and we're starting off with Silver Sable. From the get-go, you can see that her head turns side to side. The hair doesn't get in the way of the articulation too much unless you try to look up. Then there starts to be a real problem. She looks down pretty well. Lots of movement right there. Hair just kind of sticks out like that, so it's a little funny. Her arm can move up 90 degrees. Beautiful right angle right there. No double joints, but who was expecting it? The wrist is hinged on the side. That's kind of cool. It helps her pose the gun a little bit in that hand more so. Actually, the first time I've ever seen that with a Marvel Legends hand, so that was cool for me to see. She crunches back not so much and crunches forward not so much. Her back crunch is better than her forward. She does swivel at that joint right there, but I'm afraid to push it too far because I don't really want to stretch out her diaphragm. You can see she does have a nice thigh swivel, although mine's a little stuck. I might want to heat that up, get it loosened up a little bit. She kicks forward pretty far and kicks back not so far at all. She has double jointed knees, which is fantastic. A hinge at the foot that is also connected to some nice ankle pivot that I have a hard time accessing. A, because I'm inept, and B, because it's just kind of hard on this figure. I don't know. She has tight joints, which actually I'm not complaining about. It's better than things moving around. Her torso wobbles a little bit. Upper torso, like where her breasts are, they wobble a little bit. It's kind of strange. Those straps don't really get in the way, but they do slide down if you move them around too much. What's neat, she does still have the peg hole in the back. It'd be a little difficult to get a stand in there to pose her around because of the harness. The harness doesn't get in the way of any of her regular movement, even her hair. The front of her hair is made of this really nice, soft, rubbery plastic that moves the way you need it to whenever you're rotating her. The head pops off, and you can see some of the excellent face sculpting and detail and the paint that just goes into this. The reflective silver is very beautiful. She has the same color lip gloss, I should say, as Black Cat, which is obviously important. And then there's Black Cat, where honestly there's not much to talk about here. She has, for all intents and purposes, the same articulation as Silver Sable, except when she tries to look up, she can't. When she tries to look down, that collar gets in the way of it a little bit. Side to side isn't nice and flexible like Silver Sable's was, and that hair is going to have to move one of the arms out of the way if you want her to get to look left or right before she crosses the street. You can see that her arm goes all the way around, and what's disgusting is this. This is appalling. Not actually, but it's just weird. She has single jointed elbows again, and these cuffs on her wrists that can come off if you don't like them. I personally don't. And then you can see that her hand, like Silver Sable's, is that side hinge, which Silver Sable it worked for, and on Black Cat it kind of works for when she's holding the whip, which we'll talk about in a second. But on the other hand, I really hate it on this hand. I don't like that it's the side to side. I wish it was the regular, I'm going to call it vertical, that I could have her hand do more of a scratching pose. She's got this belt that goes around her waist, which is just weird. It was perfectly in place when I took her out of the packaging, but after moving around with her and all, it just won't go back to where it was. She kicks forward well. I would say it almost feels like it's a little better than Silver Sable, even though the cat has thicker thighs. Yum. She has the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and the cuffs kind of like Puma's around her calf. These ones move a little more than his, a lot more, I guess, and it's not going to get in the way of any of the ankle pivots so long as you slide it up. And she's got the regular foot articulation. But to be honest with you, to be frank, all in all, real quick, I do not like this figure, and it's a disappointment. And the reason for that is kind of simple, and it boils down to I find the figure just ugly. It's not a version of Black Cat that I myself am particularly familiar with or like. I always watched the animated series and read Ultimate Spider-Man, and I'm familiar with a little more cleavage Black Cat, not this more modest cat eyes on the chest. I just don't like it. I think her proportions are odd. I don't like her hair. Her face sculpt is easily better than the previous Black Cat to have come out, but this one is just boring looking. The whip isn't very good. It just looks like a piece of long gray shit. I don't enjoy looking at it. I don't understand the belt around her waist. The articulation isn't great. And just aesthetically, it doesn't add up for me. It's not something I would ever want from a Black Cat. And if they're going to give us any Black Cat, I wish they could have given us a better Black Cat, like a PS4 Spider-Man Black Cat. And I'm going to ask for the Spider-Man PS4 figures endlessly because I really like those designs. Silver Sable, on the other hand, I was really looking forward to that figure, and she did not disappoint. Despite having a couple QC issues, like some of the silver around her chest is slathered a little bit, or there's seam lines all over the place, be it from plastic or paint, or her torso is a little wobbly. I like the figure. I think at least she is pleasing to look at and aesthetically fills the role of what Silver Sable looks like. For the size comparison, both figures stand roughly at about 6 inches tall. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Silver Sable uses the same body as Psylocke, so you can use her as a perfect estimator of scale. And to my knowledge, the female figures are never drastically different, so she should fit in with all the other figures just fine. So that does it for my review of these figures. I want to take this moment to thank you as a viewer for sticking with me. And if you have any questions about the giveaway I mentioned earlier, check out part 1 of this series and all your questions will be answered there. If you want to see more from me, keep up with my release schedule, or any posts I make, be sure to follow my Instagram page at mix.beans. And again, thanks for watching and hope to see all of you for part 4, where this road meets its end.